Welcome to the Come Up Starter Kit, guys. My name is Shankar and I have a very special guest with me today, Bernice Ly. Bernice is a change manager. Guys, today I have brought on Bernice on to give us a bit of an insight about her career journey and to understand what a change manager does for people wanting to pursue a career in this field. Thank you so much, Bernice, for finding the time to chat with me. How are you?
Very good, Shankar. Thank you for this opportunity. I'm very excited to, share a bit of my insight and, I guess, perspective and help contribute to the excitement in the ever-growing field of change management in Australia.
Wonderful, wonderful. A nice curly question for you. How are you coping with the new way of life and working from home?
I think there's always two sides that you can always do to start coping with this new way of life. One is, the shock, or the change journey where you feel depressed, you miss your old lifestyle. But for me and, my sort of consulting and change management background, I just see it as another opportunity. Things are going more digital and online and you need change managers to actually drive that and innovate that. So I've taken the opportunity with these new ways of working during COVID to actually accelerate a lot of the change activities that I'm doing and also come up with a lot of more digital change activities to help the organisations that I'm doing change projects on. So I see it as an opportunity, and hopefully in a couple of years when Australia looks back on this, we see this as a learning curve and we continue to use all the good parts from it to improve our society.
Yeah, very good. Okay, wonderful. And in terms of yourself, what's your one golden nugget for staying sane during these times?
I think positive thinking.
Yeah.
Living every day to its fullest. So, I'm a very structured person as a change manager. I had goals that I wanted to achieve at the beginning of 2020 for the end of 2020. And obviously a lot of that was thrown into disarray with the travel, restrictions from Australia to overseas, for example, or even just applying for jobs, the job market. But seeing that as an opportunity to actually sit back and reflect and go, actually, do I really need to be overseas? Can I actually interact in a multicultural environment, using digital networks? They take opportunities within Australia to grow my business and consultant skills. So I feel like that's what I've been doing, and that's how I've been staying sane, because now it's just business as usual and it's part of my lifestyle.
No, very good. Okay. Maybe let's start off with your journey, and I'm going to go all the way back. What was your very first job?
My very first job was when I was 7 years old, working with my dad at a Chinese takeaway store. So he's one of the, the first sort of immigrant coming to Australia, saw Australia end of opportunity. I'm very proud to say I'm an Australian-born Chinese. An Australian at heart, but very multicultural in terms of my background. So, citizenship to me is where you belong, but really I'm a world citizen. Nationality doesn't matter at the end of the day, it's how you contribute. And I learned that very early when, being an Australian-born Chinese, I picked up English very quickly. And at age 7, I was actually doing the marketing materials for my dad's Chinese takeaway store as my first job.
You would have learned some really good fundamental skills then, especially being at that age. And what was sort of some key skills that you sort of learned from working at your dad's shop?
The key skills I learned, funnily enough, has probably contributed to, making me the change manager that I am today. That is, you learn from failure. You fail and you fail fast, and you learn and you pick yourself up every day. Everything I did when I was 7 and even now is, going to be perfect, but actually understanding what things are not, when things go wrong or when they're not so perfect, being able to pivot really quickly in that startup and entrepreneurial style was actually a skill set that I learned and has actually been with me throughout my life. The second thing I learned is, regardless of nationality, everyone has an opportunity in this world and everyone can make, something of themselves. And I think hard work really matters. If you had hard work, dedication, and you reflect and you are empathetic to, feedback and the people around you, you will be destined to succeed with your goals. And once you reach your goal, you just continue to build on it.
Yeah,
That's what I've learned.
No, very good advice. All right, so let's jump into it. So what made you first want to get into change management?
I think when I was in primary school.
Right.
Yeah, primary school, starting very young, so already a little bit of an entrepreneur. But I saw how my teacher was actually teaching in a classroom that had over 15 nationalities. And I felt that, no matter what my teacher was saying, when she could engage with the different people and actually listen to different perspectives and being able to facilitate that to a solution or a learning outcome, I felt that the class learned a lot and everyone enjoyed it and everyone thought she was a fantastic teacher. So I looked at her and I went, actually, you know what? At the end of the day, the world that we live in is not black and white. It's not like a science. I graduated first in science in a lot of my classes. That doesn't matter if you can't bring people along that journey. So I grew fascinated with people and culture, earned my doctorate at age 22 through hard work, working 3 jobs once again. But, being able to do that instilled that excitement in actually connecting with different people of different cultures. And I find that change management is the perfect profession to do that.
Perfect. Okay. And for people interested in change management, what does a change manager do?
I actually feel like I shouldn't even be the one of the people answering that question because it's not black and white. There is no clear-cut answer. Change management to me, its foundation is based around science. So, human behavior, for example, using and thinking about digital adoption, how we change as we transform ourselves and companies. But at the end of the day, it's mainly an art, I believe. And this is sort of what I want to explore with the LinkedIn community, because change management is really about being innovative and creative and being able to explain different things to different people at different points in time, and how you actually problem solve that and actually facilitate that discussion to lead to a project outcome or a business outcome. That to me is change management. Anything else, whether you have video making skills or whether you're great at communications or whether you've got a training background, change managers come from different backgrounds, but it's the way of thinking to me is what makes a great change manager.
Okay, perfect. All right. And for people that are not aware of what a change manager or where they sit within a business, whereabouts does a change manager sit within a business?
I think a change manager can sit within a business or they can sit outside of the business, helping the business. At the heart of change management, change managers are the ones that are, I guess, facilitating and enabling a change within a business, regardless of the structure or the hierarchy. The role of the change manager is to really understand what the current business is doing, any risk or issues, and being able to actually problem solve and partner, be the business partner and help them through the times of change. That to me is a change manager.
Yeah, perfect. Okay. And so the essential skills needed to be a change manager, both from a soft skills and a technical aspect, what would you say that they are?
Sure. Technical aspects, I'll start with that first. I think, in this world, digital is very, strong. And I think that goes across a lot of occupations. Now, in terms of digital skills, does a change manager need to know coding? I did my PhD in change management in digital business, and I actually coded an app to represent my change management theory and also actually a product as a solution rather than actually writing a thesis, for example. That to me, is a one aspect of change management, but actually that way of thinking, being able to clearly go, actually, I can represent complex problems into simplified language and simplified concepts that then a wider audience can share and contribute to. That to me is the technical or the hard skill of what change manager needs. Change manager also needs to understand, for example, data analysis. Being able to back yourself up with someone thinks or some business feels this, but actually evidence-based and data suggests this, and historic trends actually look like this, is very and a very valuable tool for change managers. So I think those are the two main technical skills, being digitally savvy, being able to analyze data and critique, and also being strong in your communication.
Yeah.
Skills, I think empathy is actually the number thing, because unless you are in someone's shoes, or you can actually spend a day with their business, you can't understand the change impact to them. So you need to actually look at it from, rather than from a project lens or from your own lens, you need to actually be able to empathize with the business and actually understand sort of their ideas and their cultures and values. So empathy, relationship building, I think it goes a long way in change management, because if you don't have a strong relationship and you can't build that trust, for example, your change management is only transactional. Whereas if you build trust, when things go wrong, and it will go wrong in change is not going to be 100% perfect. We realize that. But the strongest change managers are those that are trusted advisors, have the relationship, and can actually open up doors to have those sensitive discussions, or discussions where there may be rework, for example, for the project or the business.
Yeah, right. Okay.
Soft skills. And then the third, I think, and most important soft skill is actually creativity thinking. Right. So being able to continually invest in yourself and improve. Change, I think, is quite in its infant stages at the moment. We know sort of things like the change theory, the ADKAR model and everything, but those are very high level foundational bases. How can you use that and craft that, like I did for my doctorate degree, into solutions for customers? That involves creative thinking, and that's the soft skill of not just knowing a process, but being able to think outside of that and reinvent new theory to solve practical solutions. I think a change manager really needs in this day and age.
Okay. And in terms of sort of the hardest aspects of your role, what would you say that they are?
Change managers are often perfectionists, and the reason change managers are perfectionists is because we care. Most managers in their role, not because about salary or about the title. I don't care whether I'm called a change lead, a senior change manager, a change director. I've had various titles. What I'm most proud of is actually the outcomes. When the business goes, yeah, that went really well. You really represented us, and we were able to have. That makes me really proud of my achievement. And the hardest aspect sometimes is accepting that sometimes not everything that the business that you're representing or the project that you're representing is going to get to the target outcome. Yeah. Sometimes the hardest part as a change manager is actually having that facilitation, negotiation skills, where there is going to be a little bit of give and take. And the best thing is to understand that and then work to a solution.
Okay. And for someone that is wanting to get into the career of change management, what sort of advice would you give that person?
I think never give up, because if it's someone's true dream, then you will reach it. Don't be afraid to, just because you have a background that is unique, that may not be in the mainstream change management background, like training or learning or comms or HR, for example, that you can't be a good change manager. I think the best advice is believe in yourself, know sort of what, where you want to head, come up with a roadmap, but also seek advice and reach out to recruiters who specialize in change and actually discuss how your skills that you currently have are adaptable and value add to change management. A lot of the interviews I've gone to, a lot of the business pitches that I pitch, whether it's in Australia and I've worked overseas in Asia for multinational companies, people actually don't have a clear vision of what a change manager do. They go, I have a problem. How can a change manager actually help me solve the problem, and what value are you going to add? So it's going to be about title and your academic qualifications or your background, but more about your personality and how you can actually add value to business. And so be an entrepreneur, act like an entrepreneur change manager, and really pitch change and its value and how you can utilize cross skills to actually solve that change problem.
Is there a certain career path that one must take in order to get to a change manager? Is there a certain particular straight line to get there, or you can come from sort of any angle?
Look, I think, and once again, keen to hear the LinkedIn community's of thoughts, but a straight line a very linear thing would be start as a change analyst, go to change manager, go to senior change manager in a company. Yeah. You're sort of leading the program of work, and then you're a change lead where you're looking at a change practice, right? Yeah. That to me would be a traditional textbook style linear path, but I actually don't believe in that. What I've seen is the best change managers are those that have the world experience, that can start up thinking, and that can innovate very creatively and very quickly as well.
Yeah, wonderful. And now you've had a really colourful career where you've actually had the opportunity to not only work in Australia, but overseas. And I think that this will appeal to quite a number of people. Maybe discuss about your opportunities and where it's sort of taken you overseas.
Yeah, look, once again, that wasn't a linear career path, and I always say I have a very colourful CV. So thank you, Shanka, being a recruiter, actually highlighting that once again. I don't actually care what's in my CV in terms of, don't need a linear career path to impress people. I don't need a mainstream CV, because if you want a mainstream CV, then you're actually not thinking and you're not actually showing your personality through that CV. My personality is, I am a very startup style entrepreneurial person who believes in change and the power of change to benefit business and people, and ensure that we get to the right outcomes on projects. And I wanted to explore that further. I wanted to be a change manager that is often in uncomfortable situations, because the more uncomfortable and challenging situations that you're in, the more learning you gain from it. So I went to Asia. And Asia is a different beast to Australia in itself. There are definitely similarities, but there's also differences. Working across different multinational companies, being able to pitch ideas to them. And look, some of them were challenging. You know, not all of them were well received, but guess what? You learn from it and you become, you know, I never look at a company's brand and say, I want to work for the company because of that brand. I look at a company's problem and I say, as a change manager, should I apply for that role because I actually add value to the role? Now, my next client, my next company could be in a startup, it could be a small business, it could be a medium-sized business, or guess what? It could be overseas with a multinational company. But being able to actually really understand the problem that they're trying to solve for, partnering with them, understand the people and culture, and that's why being with different cultures, it's challenging and it's exciting, and being able to drive that change to delivery is what gets me excited, and why I guess my CV is very colourful.
Yeah, very good. Okay. And in terms of when you were overseas, what was the sort of learning aspects that you can take back and then bring that over here?
Definitely. I find that when you're over much about change management, as actually about yourself as an individual. So you grow as an individual overseas. My first year overseas was actually extremely challenging. The reason being was, you know, I was in a senior role. The expectation from that particular company was you do the job, right? You're just another project person. You're a change manager. I had to adapt, and even just walking to work, where in Australia you catch the train, or you know your transport, you know your route. Whereas overseas, I actually got lost at a wet market in Asia. You know, people were speaking local language. Some local language I knew, others were foreign, and being able to navigate that. But then actually, you know what? Pick myself up, walk into a workshop on my first day at work and facilitate that workshop. You actually learn a lot. You learn resilience. You learn the fact that, you know, you are vulnerable and you rely on society around you to help you. So therefore, when you achieve something, it's not an individual achievement. It's an achievement of your team. And whether that is someone who has helped you whilst you're walking to work, or whether that is someone who, you know, gives you different perspectives during a meeting, we rely on people and rely on teamwork. And those were the sort of characters and values that I built. Other things I learned internationally is that when you're international, you're by yourself. Your values are extremely important, and actually knowing your values and anchoring your values. So for example, you know, I'm a female. I like IT. I'm in change management. I don't accept, for example, that only males can do IT. Now, in some society or in some companies, they might look at me and say, well, why would a female be pitching to us about an IT solution or a change solution relating to technology? But being able to stand firm with them and actually highlight my perspective and being able to walk away when my values don't align is actually something that you learn overseas. And in overcoming that, you become a stronger person, because then it is, you know, my CV doesn't need to be mainstream. I know my own worth, I know my own value, and I can pitch and work in partnership with companies and businesses.
Yeah, wonderful. So what do you enjoy most?
Opportunity.
Well, exactly, because it sounds like you have a lot of passion for change. What is the, I guess, what are the three things that you most like about change management?
Ever challenging career, number one.
Right.
It's never the same day in and day out. You're always either on projects or you're in the midst of change. You're right in the middle of a change, right? So that's number one. Number two, people. People, even though a solution may seem simple, people can make it complex if not handled properly.
Yeah.
And you're in the midst of it as a change manager. And thirdly, I think it is the industry itself. At the moment, we talk about agile, we talk about transformation, yet change, do we really need to write a full-on change strategy? Can we and have it and move it iteratively as we go with the solution, for example, right? Things like that. Being able to prototype that and continue to wow the audience, but being grounded with business acumen and the customer solution, I think is very valuable. And that is a mix of skill set. I call that T-shaped thinking. And, you know, in startups, there isn't just a pure change manager often. Sometimes you're a change manager, you're also a product designer, and also you need to understand the costing and the budgets to ensure that your change solution matches to it. So that multi-skilling, I think, allows a lot of creativity in the change industry, and it allows people who are innovative, who are very driven and passionate to actually really make a contribution to change and subsequently the business and customer outcome.
Okay. And where do you think that change management is going? What do you think the future holds for change management?
I think at the end of the day, change management will encompass other additional elements. So to be a change manager, you can't just talk about comms and training. I hate people say a change manager is just comms and training, and even better yet, some people say, can you write an email for me? And by the way, I need a change manager for that. Change management is very strategic, right? You've got a problem that you need to solve. How you solve that problem, how you facilitate the arrival of solutions or options for that problem is change management. Now, how do you do that in the future? How a change manager does it, I think, has to be very technologically savvy, has to be visual, and has to encompass design thinking, because at the end of the day, business exists for the customer. If there weren't any customers, there's no businesses. So at the end of the day, you need to understand that business lens, work backwards from it, use design thinking skills, use a bit of communications, training, and behavioral science to craft up a solution, and then be able to pitch it like an entrepreneur as a change manager to ensure that your solution is adopted. And I think in the future, a change manager will, not that they are not now, because I think good change managers, strong ones, actually exhibit those skills now, but it will be further refined in the future, and you will find that change managers are very multifaceted people, different skill sets, but a passion and a common shared value for people and culture.
Yeah, perfect. Okay. And I know that you're working on some exciting things. What sort of, what does the future hold for Bernice?
Future holds for Bernice. Look, I'm very entrepreneurial. I would love for the change to also be digital. In terms of tools, in terms of solutions that we can actually give businesses to transform. Why do you need one FTE or one full-time person of a change manager when actually a lot of things maybe we can automate? So actually crafting up those solutions whilst I'm delivering continuing business projects and running my own business, that's really my passion, and that's what I want to continue in the future.
Wonderful. All right, Bernice, is there anything else that you'd love to tell the audience?
Before we go, I think, you know, if you really believe in the dream of becoming a change manager, it's a great industry to go in. Just believe in yourself and make your own path there. Don't follow other mainstream change managers. That's their career. That's how they've evolved into change manager. You need to find the right path for yourself. And if you have the passion and you have the drive, just remember Bernice at 7 years old was running a business and passion. You will succeed in a change manager role. And there are many people out there, especially on the LinkedIn community around Australia or globally, that will help you if you actually show the dedication to that career path.
Wonderful, Bernice. Thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you. Talk soon.